I don't care if he was bullied or none of that.
Racial bullying and stuff like that. The numbers ain't on your side.
Does she not realize how crazy she sound?
But look,
I mean, she said that she don't agree with him getting chased out. You feel me? But
yeah, but then she contradicts herself.
Yeah, but she agrees with the outcome, so she might as well agree with him.
My whole point is like this, Lord, and I think that I've expressed this several times, maybe not on camera, but in our different conversations, right? If we don't own the spot or if we can't work at the spot, I feel like we don't have business support. You get what I'm saying?
The volcano from an Iceland, they come to take over the rap game like the white man. Iller than Hitler, photobomb and Yahoo, ready bomb missile. Watch me do it like the Pointer Sisters. Slip arsenic in your corn liquor. Two bigger L's than the Aubrey nigga. From Pappy Mason to Pastor Mason, the church is vacant. I'm preaching with Bobby, trapped in the basement. I'm laughing, just imagine the Sleepy Beauty had herpes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the place to be. I'm your host, Adam L. My co-host, Sikas the Governor. We got Quan Bizzle in the middle, pause. We got Scales the Scholar. We got Jamba One. Hopefully I said that right. And Ty, the man off the grid. What's going on, fellas? Yeah. We back in full effect. Last week was a hiatus for us, if I'm pronouncing that word right. I was gonna go solo. I was pumped up about it too. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna do the Jay-Z thing solo. You know what I'm saying? And get my full analysis on it, whatever the case may be. And then, my 40s crept in. The wife and I watched the Michael Jackson movie, watched Joe Jackson Wild Out. Next thing you know, I was like, yo, y'all got to see that movie, Michael, man.
Yo, Coleman Domingo deserve an Oscar for his role.
Yeah, he do, yo. Vicious. He's my
played
number
Joe
one villain.
Jackson to the fullest, yo. That nigga had me stressed out the whole movie, yo.
But was it funny though? I mean, it was so diabolical that he was funny. I ain't gonna lie. Especially when he was creeping. Especially when Michael was like, "This is our last tour," and you see Joe creeping like a villain.
The funniest part to me, yo. I'm gonna let you finish, Lord. But the funniest part to me was I saw it in the theater. You feel me? All the white people was shocked and they was gasping, but all the black people knew what it was. Like, yo, y'all know what y'all came to see. Like, you don't know? Like, this what he did, yo. Like, they was real shocked. I'm like, all the black people was just, you feel me?
We already knew what time it was. See, here's the thing. It's a thin line between greatness and obsession. And Joe tilts the fine line. Like in the beginning of the movie, right? Because I watched it on Prime, right? And they was like, ooh, they was in rhythm too. You know what I'm saying? In the house. And Joe was like, do it again. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I loved it, man. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people may hate Joe for his antics or whatever, but what I didn't like was when Mike had caught on fire, he was in the hospital, right? And I said, yo, he took the spot of what's her husband, Tina Turner, Ike Turner. He took Ike Turner's spot in the greatest villain in entertainment in the music entertainment world. Because I had my man from the Temptations, right? I had what's his name? What's the dude name from Temptations?
David Ruffin.
Yes, thank you. Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. I had him, and I had Ike Turner, like as my goat.
Suge Knight got to be on that list too, though.
Yeah,
Suge Knight definitely a villain.
Suge Knight got to be on that list too.
But when Mike was in the hospital, suffering third-degree burns on the brink of death, my man told the doctor, like, "Yo, patch him up." I'm paraphrasing. Yo, he got shows to do.
Yeah. That's diabolical.
That was cold-blooded, yo. You know who else a villain, yo? Miss Chalet got her own movie. After Straight Outta Compton came out, she made her own movie. Yo.
Yeah, I saw
Dre, yo, Dre is the villain in her movie, yo. Dre's so much of a villain, Suge Knight was the good guy up until the end of the movie, yo. That's how bad Dre was wilding in Miss Chalet movie,
terrible, yo. Yeah, man, but Joe, yo, he was How you gonna beat your kids when they grown, though? That's weird. And then Mike, he up there like in his 20s and got doll babies in his rooms and shit like that. A pet monkey with a diaper on, and I said, oh my goodness. But did y'all catch the shot that he threw at Prince in the movie? Y'all ain't catch that?
Get a sense.
When he was doing Off the Wall, when he was like trying to create, the album Off the Wall. And I had to go back in time. I did not realize how great that album was, because everybody's thinking about Thriller all the time. But Off the Wall was dope, yo. Off the Wall was dope, man. It was dope. Well, anyway, he's in the swimming pool, and I think Tito, somebody's talking to him like, why are you in the pool, Michael? What are you doing? Get out the pool. And he's like, nah, I'm trying to wait for like a revelation from God. If I don't get it, then he's going to give it to Prince. Paraphrase, I'm like, it's a shot.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Bro.
Prince tried to run the man over, yo. The Jacksons had beef. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, my bad, Lord. My favorite scene was when they had showed Joe talking to Don King.
Oh, yeah, it was diabolical, yo.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, it was like a meeting of the black supervillains, man. like that was crazy.
That was it.
That was crazy.
I hope that really didn't go down like that, yo. That's crazy.
I think it did. I'm pretty sure it did, but it kind of made me think like, are they trying to say that how Don King was running the boxes, that's how Joe was doing his sons? You feel me? Like, is that how it was? That the comparison they were trying to make?
Yeah, that's what it was. Oh my God, man, that man's not here to defend himself, but yeah, yo, he's in my top 3 villains, man, of all time. Like you said, Dave Ruffin, Ike Turner, Suge Knight, Joe Jackson, and I gotta be Eddie Kendricks.
I don't think he was a villain.
Dang.
You mean Eddie Kane?
Yeah, Eddie Kane. Sometimes I wish raindrops would fall.
No, Big Red, the real villain in that movie.
Yeah, he is. We got to put him there, yo. Until further notice, that's the top 5 of all time. All right, man, let's get down to some serious business, man. What we talking about, Karmelo? Fellas?
I think we got Karmelo.
The Karmelo Anthony trial and how that went down, right? And like the little bit of search I was looking up and stuff like that, right? And free Karmelo, man, hands down. You know what I'm saying? Free Karmelo. They was talking about how social media actually crippled the case and how people took sides before the verdict, and that and the likes that hindered the case, because now social media has built up a villain. We're talking about villains, right? To build up a certain image of this young man, and then the jury, how it was all white jury, or it was 2 black people on there. Then they took the black people off, and it's just so much that was not in his favor, bro. And what you guys think, man? I'll come back around to it, but I believe that social media really crippled this case. Basically, it decided the man's fate, in my opinion. Because people already took sides before getting the facts. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then also like the way that the news outlets framed it as well, because they focus heavily on like Metcalf being a victim, and how the whole message about we want justices first and all of that type of stuff, right? But they have very little emphasis on things like the fact that 3 black judges were dropped from the jury. You know what I mean? Or there wasn't much discussion on how race and had played a role in the case. The only like outlet that I saw that reported it was UK, a UK outlet. So You know, I think it was The Guardian, but everybody else, it was pretty much, you know, it was focused on like the proceedings and saying that it was close watch and everything was about, Metcalf and how it was, his injury and the police action, and it's not much discussion. So that shapes what people believe even before that. But one of the main things is that why was the three black women were dropped from the jury, right? And when they challenged it, they presented the Bastin challenge, which basically is like um to say that someone was dropped off for racial discrimination reasons, but it's hard to falsify that or prove it rather, because as long as you say nothing, like if you give the reason why you don't want them off the case, as long as you don't say race, that challenge you can't raise that challenge, and the prosecutors didn't accept it. But it just to me it makes sense to have, like, if you're gonna adjudicate someone from our community, then we should be there. It shouldn't be an all white panel.
That's facts. That's facts. And that should be um altogether a reason for an appeal to take place. Now the funny thing about appeals, that a lot of people go for sentence reduction. Because what a sentence reduction does is you can't lose in that situation, right? Either they keep you at the same sentence or or they lower it. With an
Yeah,
appeal is better because either you go free, but here's the downside to that. You can get more time. You understand? So
yeah,
let's say you got 10 years, you appeal the case, and they're like, okay, the judge like, well, they gave you 10 there. I think you deserve 30. How about that? See ya.
yeah,
You know? So I think there's enough loopholes and in this trial for an appeal. Like you said, I come from the standpoint of social media, everybody playing judge, jury, and executor, and that heavily decided the trial. I don't think that, you know, I think it was too much of demonizing young Carmelo Anthony and like you said, humanizing Austin,
yeah,
right? And it was the flip side. When you look at their record, Austin, the bully, right? He was more, if we want to judge on merit and character, he was, if I didn't know no better, I thought that uh, that he could pull off an act like Carmelo did. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And then the stuff popped up with his father on social media, bro. Like, come on,
yeah,
man, the racial slurs and stuff. That right there, enough should like. I don't know why the people who was in Austin defense didn't attack the family and like this kid is capable of bullying. This
yeah,
and another thing too, I heard somebody say on social media the fact that he had a knife, a pocket knife or switch knife, whatever, in his possession. Why didn't they say, well, he goes hunting? He
right,
used that knife for hunting or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they intentionally didn't focus in on that part, and that could have sent them up the river as well.
yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know. This is not Rittenhouse. You know,
yeah.
I
And
don't think
people,
it's go on.
and the people just missing the point. Everybody's like, talking about, like, I've seen like discourse on social media by white folks, right? And some coons that's like, what, y'all think that black people should just get away with kill someone and just get away with murder? No, that's not what we saying. We saying that sentence was disproportionate. I'm not if you stab someone, you kill someone, that's a grave sin. That's a grave offense. You should get some type of time. But at the same time, don't don't be unjust with it, especially when you got a whole pedophile in the off, as president with 34 felony counts and Epstein files and everything else, and no one's saying anything. And Kyle Rittenhouse was, treated like a martyr, and so many other cases where that's the thing that people are missing. I mean, they know it, but they just don't want to see it. And we ain't having it like that. That's not cool.
Panel, I want to know, someone please tell me, how much is the parents at fault on both sides? Because from my understanding, he went to an all-white school or mostly predominant white school, right? Why would they set their child up for failure in that environment? That's one. And why wasn't it a paper trail of this bullying? Meaning, like, documents from the principal's office, documents from the teacher of these incidents. They was on a sports team, like he was being bullied, on his team. Why wouldn't it like a paper trail of him being bullied, or these, the conflict between both parties? And how much does the parents play part in this? Did Karmelo Anthony parents fail him? Do y'all think anybody want to take a shot at that? Because no way how I would put my child in that situation.
I want to say something. I want to say bullying is not how it was like back then. You know what I mean? It's like if you tell or go to a principal about that, like parents and older people, they kind of frame it as a thing. Well, just go to your elders and go to your principal about it. It's easy. Well, these days you go to a principal or some type of elder, people are going to consider that as automatic snitching. They treat the school like the rules in the streets. You know what I mean? So if you go to some type of principal or some elder, they're just going to think of you as a snitch, or you're going to automatically be pointed out as weak. That should be a good thing to go to the principal or an elder or your parent and communicate to them about that stuff. But these days, especially in the urban schools, you tell the principal, you tell an older parent, you automatically pointed out as a rat. So, the only thing you gotta do in that situation is either confront it yourself, which what he did in a not so favorable way, or really that's the only option was confront it. You know what I mean? So there's not too many options these days, especially nowadays. So that's why so many school shootings and so many, fights or people getting, stabbed and killed, because you're going to be seen as weak or get bullied even more. Bullying is not so it's never been such a straightforward thing, but it's more complex than it's ever been before. People are getting bullied online, outside of school, posts about them, all that other stuff, and inside of the school. So
but shouldn't that played in his favor? What I mean by that, he should have used social media as a tool. What I would have done, understanding he's 17 years old, so his brain's not fully developed,
Mm-hmm.
But what I would have done, I would use social media as a tool. That would have been my paper trail. I would have been like, live. See how they treated me? See what they doing to me, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Now you build a case where you have people in your corner. You have people that's actually feeling sorry for you. You got the power of social media. Somebody could have stepped in and basically got that boy out of school. The right person would have saw it, but he would have established a paper trail online of him being bullied. You understand what I'm saying? So, that would have worked in his favor.
And let me also say this though, like add to some. One of the things is the school has to recognize it as a problem when it comes to things like racial violence and discrimination. Oftentimes, especially if you're an all-white school, they don't take that as seriously as like say sexual assault or something like that, because they don't perceive it like it's the fabric of the American society that race doesn't matter, and they don't see racism. They don't think that it's a factor. So if you're a black person attending a predominantly white school, you don't have much of a resource. Same thing goes with institutions. If you go to a corporate institution and you start complaining about racial violence and racial bullying and stuff like that, the numbers ain't on your side. You'll end up being isolated, squashed out, and dealt with.
Yeah, I don't think nobody really cared for the mascot.
You
Mhm.
know?
He was basically a mascot. Gus, what you think, man?
I don't know. This whole thing is I don't know. The whole blow up of the whole thing. But see, one thing about Austin Metcalf, he was like a star football player, wasn't he? So I think in that area where he was at, so I think that has a lot to do with a lot of the public support for him at that time. You know what I mean? And then with that whole case happen, they went to two different schools too. You know what I'm saying? So they I guess they never knew each other beforehand when it comes to this. So uh, the way that the whole public is the way that social media was used for this case, you think about Rittenhouse and some of these other ones though, I think it's like you're pushing for this. They want to have this whole black versus white thing to happen. You know what I mean? Like this really for that push. So this is like one of them cases they trying to use it. You can kind of feel like them OJ vibes to it. You know what I mean? So that's what I see about this whole thing overall. You know what I mean? So they had like there's now these rumors going on back and forth. You don't know what to believe about certain parts. Like what about the GoFundMe's? You know what I mean? Like they saying a whole lot of money was for GoFundMe's for Karmelo Anthony. They spent it for a house. So who knows? Who knows?
That's crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Jan, what you think, bro? Have you been following it? What's your take on it?
A little bit. I do think that he committed a crime and he needs to do his time. Also think that they gave him, well, they could have gave him life in prison. They didn't give him life. He could have got life for what he did. They gave him 35 years. So I was going to say that they should have gave him 25, but being that they didn't give him a life sentence, I think the 35 years that they gave him is pretty fair. Because the bottom line is he killed somebody. He didn't have to kill him. He could have did a whole bunch of other things. He could have ran. He could have talked some trash. He could have fired on him. Not like with a gun, but with his fist. He could have he could have did a lot of other things. But he went all the way to the extreme and he stabbed that boy in the chest and he killed him. You know what I mean? He murdered him. I don't care if he was bullied or none of that. I don't care.
What
You,
is
you, you
Randy?
can
Go. I'm sorry. Go on.
you can do anything to get back at a bully, but you cannot kill them. And you never know what would have happened if he would have actually took the proper steps to deal with said bully. You know what I mean? If he got pushed and pushed him back or he stole off on him or whatever, you never know. They might have been lifelong enemies or they might have became friends after that. You never know. But you don't kill them. You know, white boys can't come to the school with guns and just shoot people, and black boys can't stab people up. I'm sorry.
I'm curious to know how long this been going on, like the feud back and forth. That's very interesting. I agree with you, Jam. But one thing is, like they say, rage is temporary insanity, right? Like you ever heard the term "I blanked out"? You get what I'm saying? So I want to take that into consideration as well. But I wonder how long this feud has been going back and forth, because he could have been at his breaking point.
They said that they not. People say they met that day.
Let me ask you this, Jam. So, all right. So my main thing is that I agree with you too on like the fact that like murder is murder. You gotta pay. You gotta do your time for that. But it's two different standards of justice. And I'm gonna illustrate this. So there's a guy named Kason Allison who was 17 who stabbed a classmate. Right. He was found not guilty of murder and was sentenced to 10 years of time. Karmelo Anthony was 17 at the time that he did that he committed the same murder. He was found instead guilty of murder and given 35 years. That's disproportionate. And I can find multiple examples of that where the sentencing standards aren't even. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's like the fact that, like if everybody gonna get if anybody who stabs a classmate or stabs someone, right? Everybody should get 35 years or 25 years, no matter what race. But what we found, what you see historically is that's not the case.
But I wanna capitalize on something too, Ty. What state was this guy in when he did the stabbing and caught the manslaughter charge? That
Texas.
matters too.
Think Texas.
Texas.
Yeah.
It was the same state?
Yeah, Casey Ellison was in Belton, Texas.
Same state, right?
Same state. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, that's problematic. Because I about to
You
say,
see what I'm saying?
you could have made a case if it was somewhere in Illinois or something like that, because different states carry different charges.
It was in 2022, and at Belton High School. So it's the same, and he only got 10 years in prison, and he included there was a deadly weapon that was also included.
Yeah, because a lot of people can say, well, maybe the lawyer and the politics behind that court trial was a little different, and he had the lawyer, but then you can counter that with, well, look at the laws from the crack era. Like, black people got more harsher sentences than white people. That's a proven fact.
Who did he kill? Did he kill another?
That's interesting.
He killed a classmate, Jose Luis Ramirez Jr.
Jose is
Mexican. You see what I'm saying?
That's another thing. That's another thing right there. But I just want to say this, right? We all know that America is racist. Every minority in this country, America is racist, and you are at a disadvantage. We all know that. And the bully is going to bully you until you fight back. You can fight back physically, or you can fight back mentally, but you have to fight back. In America, bullies its minorities.
True.
That's just the way it's going to be until we do something about it.
Yeah, but what steps, like you said he could have ran, he could have fought him. That's why I say go back to the parents, man. And Gov made a strong point that I didn't know, that was their first and only encounter, Gov, or this first time they met, and that was it. Because I thought they had a history, a paper trail of this going on, like the beef back and forth. Because if that was the case, then the parents should have stepped in, and the school should have stepped in, and like, look, this got to stop before it get out of hand. So
yeah, but again, it's like one of those things. Nobody these days, I don't even think back then in y'all time, and correct me if I'm wrong, nobody, especially teenagers, they're not gonna go back and say, "Mommy, Daddy, I got bullied at school." Maybe your daughter might do it, but when you have a young male or a young teenager, that's considered uncool. That's considered lame, weak. You know what I mean? Like, you telling your pops, your moms that, you know what I mean? Like I remember one time I was young. I had to be like 13, 14. It was in Atlanta. And, it was this older guy named like Jalen. He had to be like 17, 16 or like that. So we was playing on his court and everything like that. He was making fun of my religion and everything. And when we played ball, he'd be extra aggressive with me. I didn't want to say nothing to my pops or my moms, but my cousin, she was observing, she seen that, and she told my pops. My pops approached him about it, right? Now, okay, good thing she told my pops about it and everything, like dad approached it in his way, in a mature way. But after that, I was seeing blame on the court. I wasn't even the one that told. People was looking at me like, you know what I mean? He's going to say something. We can't, joke with him, or we can't play ball with him a certain way or talk. Right? I had to earn my respect because for that short period of time, for that month, I would see him as a lame. So you gotta understand, for someone like a teenager in Karmelo Anthony case, you telling your parents you automatically a lame. You gonna get bullied even more. So that's, when you're in that situation as a teenager, you're not thinking straight. The only option I gotta do is fight, and unfortunately, it came to killing somebody. But you know, that's the only situation they think
Man,
at the time.
I wanted to swear. I wanted to swear up a homeboy stepfather. You know what I'm saying?
And
Bring your
look,
pops, bring your pops to the door.
so
Let's make this interesting.
oh no. So the student Anthony was following up on something someone said. So Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf did not know each other. There's no indication in like the the available reports and so on and so forth. But
Hmm.
they they met each other plausibly at the team meet. They were under the it was a rain delay. They were under a camp tent, right? An argument is started, and then from there it escalated, right? There's not much, and this is one of the problems with the court cases, like they don't have much discussion around what ensued during that time or before. So you're left to kind of speculate. Now, the one thing that people also don't mention is the fact that Metcalf was 216 pounds and Anthony was 130 pounds. So you have to think about the physical difference and the type of mental gymnastics and mental calculus you got to do when you see someone who's much physically larger than you, and the type of terror that kind of can create for someone, right? Can cause someone. So it doesn't make what the fact that he couldn't get a manslaughter, like that seems plausible for a manslaughter issue, but you guys chose to go with the highest, which is murder, which is like, no, that's a legit thing. Like that can truly be, a moment of passion where you just you're afraid, you crashed out. Not the best thing. And like Quan said, when you that young, you the way you don't always have the same tools and faculties to deal with it, and especially as a black man, the way we learn how to deal with stuff, we
Yeah, but see, this thing was now that I'm getting more insight on it. This thing was more of a sped a moment. This was not like a paper trail. I'm looking at it
Hmm.
as a paper trail. Like, okay, they have a history of beef. It's been going
no.
on for the whole semester or school year. And I was like, okay, Jan mentioned one thing. You're going to think your way out of it or physically. I mean, either way, outsmart the bully mentally or physically. And I was thinking on a case of, like you said, Ty, there was a difference in size, there was a difference in advantage, there was a difference in so many things that didn't go Carmelo's way. I would use social media as a tool. Like,
Hmm.
look, they're bullying me. Look at this. You know what I'm saying? Look at this guy. He's bullying a poor black kid, in an all-white school and stuff like that. But it didn't go down that way because now that I'm listening, this is more of a spur of moment and of anger,
Mm.
Right.
rage, you know?
I think one of my biggest concerns, though, right, just in America in general, we need to really approach and talk about this sick murder culture we have nowadays. It's like it's been that way, but more than ever now. Like, why is this a new trend of us involving murder into a situation? Like, simple arguments are no longer just fights or fist fights. Like, we actually out here killing each other for a argument about who stole the last M&M out the packet. Like, it's getting to the point where it's like
I mean, that is
nobody
that's
throwing
disgusting.
hands and knuckles no more. Nobody,
I blame
pinning the
NBA
boxing gloves on.
YoungBoy.
Yeah, like, it like
That ass
everybody
though,
got
I
the.
do. I blame NBA YoungBoy. You listen to the music, that's all niggas is talking about, yo. Every
Yeah,
Yes, it
single song
is.
is catching hats, spinning
He's
blocks,
yeah.
a catch.
walking niggas down. That's every song, yo.
Quan was playing me something the other day, and you can
Man,
see
it's
my
that Polo
face when I
G.
was listening to. I was like, "Yo, what is this, bro? Turn this off, bro. Like this,
Yeah,
this
that Polo G. Oh man, I was playing the most ignorant soundtracks for him. I was playing Polo G. King Von, Lil Durk, his facial expressions was just like, wow, man. It's just like, but no, like on a serious note, like this murder culture, man, even like with our elders or like anybody, man, you got like little kids out here willing to kill you. People own wives or stabbing their husbands in their sleeps and stuff like.
Scary, man. Like
It's becoming a
12-year-old,
sick, you can't.
11-year-old can take you up out of here.
Yeah, I know, and this stuff been happening, but like you can't trust nobody now. Like you get into an argument about, like which cereal, which cereal you like. People ready to put a cap in your head for that, man. Like
it's a jail culture that's outside.
That's crazy.
You can't bump into somebody, it's no conflict resolution. That's the bottom line of the whole topic. There's no conflict resolution. And that's where things went wrong, because you had two young men who couldn't, come to understanding and talk things over. You had one white kid who looked at himself as, the majority, and looked at this poor little black kid that's been outnumbered, outsized, out everything. And he just took amongst himself to bully this kid. And the young man was under pressure, scared, nervous, and act on instinct rather than act upon, intellect and I blame a lot of people, man. I blame the coaches. I blame the witnesses. I blame the people. And somebody there could have stopped the situation, and they let it occur.
It's crazy because we're celebrating it. They're on. It's not funny, but they did the same thing with Hulk Hogan. Like they're saying the Austin Metcalf pack. They have his face on a cigarette box in the pack. And you got people who's smoking his pack and everything, getting high. Like they did the same thing with Hulk Hogan. Like, why y'all paying people in packs now, man? Like,
yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, yo. I had to share Charlie Kirk pack, yo.
He said Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but we just living in crazy culture. It is what it is. Before we jump, you got anything to say about the skills before we jump to the next topic?
No, I think everything has been said, yo.
All right, that's what's up. Real quick, what you guys think about? I think you mentioned it, Gov, or somebody about the GoFundMe's and how that could be scammed, and people is using that as a way to get money. I seen little blogs. I seen little blogs or whatever of Boosie donating tons of money. You have what's his name? Charles, whatever his name is.
Cool ass Charleston White.
Yeah, Charleston White. Thank you. He done raised over $70,000, and he's active on social media and stuff like that. So I don't know what's real, what's not. I think people should come to the young brother's aid. But we so tied up in our image, and I'm talking about the celebrities. We so tied up in our image and branding that we don't want to do that. When white people don't give a flying F about Brandon. Real quick, the young lady who called the little black boy on the playground a nigga, they raised $1 million for her. She set for life. Yeah. Because she cursed out a young black kid on the playground, a child, called them the N-word. And when she was exposed and lost her job, white folk raised $1 million for her.
That's sick.
Yeah, that part. Let's
we got the what's that?
We gotta do better, man. We gotta do better. We gotta come to our people's aid, man. That's a young warrior, that's a young king, that's a young black man. We gotta come to his aid. We gotta come to his rescue. We gotta come to his rescue, man. Hopefully this video can reach enough people and it can be shared or whatever. But I'm calling out to everybody from the top tier, the Jay-Z's on down to the janitors, man. We got to do something to aid this young black man in the best as possible. Send our prayers, write to him. Whatever we can do, spread the word, you know what I'm saying? But we got to be there for one another because they damn sure there for themselves. That's for sure. That's for sure. What's next on the bracket?
Well,
Quan, go.